Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hadis Mat Technology Wala and I am the student of Foundation Level Back 2 at the Ryan School Hall campus. Today my task is talk with Sesame by the Maya on the topic Sorry Tracing the Roots of Apology. Let's go and start my task.
Hey, hey, Hadi, how goes it?
Hi, how's it going?
Hello Maya, I will search some questions, you will answer them.
I'm ready. What's on your mind?
Okay Maya, my first question is what is the true meaning of saying sorry?
At its core, sorry is about acknowledging that you've caused harm or disappointment. It's a way of saying, I see the impact of my actions and I value our relationship more than my need to be right. Do you think people use it too often? Or maybe not enough.
Okay, Maya, my next question is why do humans feel the need to apologize?
Usually it's whenever there's a gap between how we acted and the values we want to hold. Whether it's a small slip up, like stepping on someone's toe, or a bigger breach of trust, we apologize to bridge that gap and make the other person feel seen. It's basically a social reset button. I wonder if you think some apologies feel more sincere than others.
Okay, Maya, my next question is how did the concept of apology develop in human history?
That's a deep dive. It likely started as a survival mechanism. In early human groups, conflict could be dangerous, so we needed a way to signal that we weren't a threat and wanted to keep the peace within the tribe. Over time, it turned into a formal social ritual in many cultures to restore balance and honor. I bet there's some wild historical evidence of how different civilizations handled this.
Okay, Maya, my next question is saying sorry always a sign of weakness?
Honestly, no, I think it's actually the opposite. It takes a lot more guts to admit you messed up than it does to pretend you didn't. It's a move of confidence, really, showing that you're secure enough in yourself to be wrong. Do you feel like people often mistake humility for weakness?
Okay, Maya, my next question is what role does culture play in how people apologize?
Culture changes everything about how an apology lands. In some places, it's all about the specific words you say, while in others, it's more about the gesture or the way you show you've made things right. For example, some cultures prioritize the collective harmony of the group over the individual's mistake. So the apology is more about restoring that balance than just saying, I messed up. I've heard that in some East Asian cultures, a sincere apology can be an incredibly nuanced social art form. Do you think the way you were raised influenced how you apologize?
Okay, ma'am. My next question is how do different societies express apology in unique ways?
It's fascinating how varied it can be. Some societies might not even use a specific word for sorry, but instead focus on reparative actions like bringing a gift or doing a favor to show they're sorry. In others, like in Japan, there are multiple levels of apology depending on who you're talking to and how big the mistake was. It's less about the word and more about the social hierarchy and respect. There are actually some really specific rituals for public apologies in certain cultures that are almost like performances of humility. Want to know about those?
Okay, ma'am. My next question is can an apology heal emotional damage completely?
In a perfect world, maybe, but in reality, I don't think it's a magic eraser. An apology can open the door to healing, but the actual repair usually happens in the actions that follow. Trust is built in drops and lost in buckets, so if the damage is deep, a few words usually aren't enough to refill the bucket. Do you think there's a point where an apology actually becomes too late to matter?
Okay, Maya, my next question is what makes an apology sincere or insecure?
I think sincerity usually comes down to the why behind the apology. If someone is apologizing just to end the tension or because they got caught, it feels like a transaction. A sincere apology takes ownership without adding a but at the end. It focuses on the other person's pain, not on making the apologizer feel better. As for doing it in secret, that's a bit of a gamble. Sometimes a private apology feels more intimate and real, but if the harm was public, a secret apology can feel like the person is trying to hide their mistake from the world while still checking a box. Do you find that you trust private apologies more than public ones?
Okay, Maya, my next question is why do some people find it difficult to say sorry?
For some, it's a question of ego. Admitting a mistake can feel like admitting they're a bad person or that they've lost a certain kind of power in the relationship. There's also the fear of the consequences that saying sorry is essentially handing someone a weapon they can use against them later. And then you have people who genuinely struggle with the vulnerability of it all. They just don't know how to handle the feeling of being flawed in someone else's eyes.
Okay, my next question is how does psychology explain the act of apologizing?
Psychologically, it's often viewed as a way to resolve cognitive dissonance when we do something that contradicts our image of ourselves as a good person. It creates this internal tension. Apologizing is a way to align our actions back with our identity. It's also tied to our need for social attachment since humans are biologically wired to avoid isolation. Apologizing is essentially a tool to prevent the social death of being cast out from the group.
Okay, my next question
I've
is
heard there are some.
okay, my next
Oh,
question.
you've heard?
Okay,
I'm listening. What have you heard?
okay, my next question is what is the difference between a verbal and non-verbal apology?
Verbal apologies are the explicit ones, the actual words, the I'm sorry or I messed up. They're clear and leave little room for interpretation. Nonverbal apologies are more about the energy and the action. It's the peace offering, the awkward hug, or just suddenly being extra helpful around the house to show you're sorry without having to say it. One is a statement, the other is a demonstration. I wonder if you think a gesture can sometimes say more than the words themselves.
Okay, Maya, how do apologize affect relationships?
Well, it can totally transform them. When a real apology happens, it doesn't just fix the mistake, it actually builds a deeper level of trust because it proves that the other person's feelings matter more than your ego. It turns a moment of conflict into a moment of connection. If someone never apologizes, it creates this slow buildup of resentment that can eventually just poison the whole relationship. Do you feel like most people in your life are good at this?
Okay, my next question is can too many apologize reduce their value?
Definitely. When it becomes a habit or a reflex, it starts to sound more like background noise than a genuine admission of fault. If someone is saying sorry for things they didn't even do or just for existing in a room, the words lose their weight. It stops being about the other person's feelings and starts feeling like a nervous tick or a way to avoid any possible friction, which can actually make the other person feel like they're walking on eggshells. Do you think you're a sorry over user?
Okay, my next And last question is, what are the stages of a meaningful apology?
I assume you mean a meaningful apology, right? A good one usually starts with, I'm sorry, and then clearly states what happened without any excuses. After that, you acknowledge the hurt you caused and ask how you can make it right. The key is to leave the rest of the room for the other person to respond without rushing them to forgive you. It's all about ownership and empathy.
Okay, Maya, you are very helpful for me. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure diving into all those questions with you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.